Aku por waklat ka belenda te. Ye bro sangut yara eksenduk jengka. Tang bopet mentah pat ufrai dia. Kam no ka ching cencar am. Tip syuk kan long kom na lada. Yap sama na mana ni.
Kikubor Kapatisi TV.
Manus nam daki lakbon ki bakwa penpinda beke MBBS Henry Kindiat e ki bapas ke admission kalapli ha Emmanuel Coaching Academy epi join menta pinyo e ki kot bat ki materials kin don ru ki mock test ban Pynkha pi na kabenda ka NEET
ka Department of Philosophy Nehu Shillong haka arpu pratrik jemang aja penriu kelapan khai ka kenhun ka belajar kerteng kum ka Lyngwiar Pyrkhat baka thongjong kani ka kenhun kalong pan sei ki Nongthoh ka Trai Jylla ki bas Nongthoh ki bakam tip ha ya ka san Pyrkhat jong ka jai pen riu khasi penar lapan skam ya kani ka kenhun do MLA ka West Shillong constituency uba polling do ubla long kum ukongsan ringkat ka jingidan lang uba embhalang simli upro vice chancellor ka school ba Nehu Professor Sumar bin Umdor Professor Basil Polong na ka Department of Philosophy ki dekat ka Nehu Students Union ki nong hikai ki research scholar jong ka Department of Philosophy Presiden jong ka Lyngwiar Pyrkhat usama Rishan lang nongrum usketri GC Lau Thang Puya bat kiwe.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together as we witness the official inauguration of the Philosophy Club. This moment symbolizes not only the beginning but the birth of a vision that seeks to encourage wisdom, dialogue, learning and unity. Thank you everyone. You may kindly take your seats.
Northeastern region, understanding Khasi, Jaintia, Garo philosophies. After Professor Mrinal Miri and Sujata Miri had left the department around 2004, there was no exploration into tribal philosophy. Though individually, some of us have done some work, but it didn't really take the shape of bringing it into syllabus, bringing it into pedagogy, bringing it into practice. So this club aspires to open up pathways to study tribal philosophy of the northeastern region in its connection with Southeast Asian human societies. We have explored certain connections in northern Thailand, in Laos, in Vietnam, and tried to see how worldviews have migrated from Upper Mekong, Upper Siang, down to Meghalaya, also to Nagaland or Arunachal Pradesh and other places. So we want to establish a new relationship between space and philosophy, a new relationship between culture and lived experience. But this is easier said than done. We are inviting everyone, be it a junior scholar, be it a senior scholar, to look into their own philosophies and also to look into neighboring philosophies and see the relation between one philosophy and another. Now, all this can be done not only under the auspices and aegis of the university and the department. We want to also go towards a startup for tribal cultures, where various cultural artifacts, practices can be brought together, not as a museum, but as a lively space of interaction through which many creative works can be done, and it will be across Southeast Asia to begin with, and then we want to spread into Indonesia, Malaysia and other places and want to develop the whole idea of Southeast Asia. Our inspiration comes from none other than Chief Minister Mr. Conrad Sangma, who recently said that Shillong is the center of Southeast Asia. The travel time between Shillong and Bangkok is much lesser than the travel time between Guwahati and Bangkok. And Shillong being physically located at the center of Southeast Asia. That was one concept that actually inspired us. We thought we will bring various tribes and ethnicities to study their culture, their worldviews together here in Shillong, and Department of Philosophy and Northeastern Hill University will host them, and then it will spread across back to their relevant locales and elsewhere. So therefore, with this humble kind of an initiative started by our dear student Rishan Lang Nongrum, GC, Manbalang Siemle and some other students and researchers, supported by all the MA students of both the semesters and our alumni, postdoctoral scholars and everyone, I think we will be able to move forward. I hope and pray everyone's support, inspiration, and all possible help from every source so that we can make it really big and really make a great stride in the world of philosophy and also improve the well-being of our people in the northeastern region.
The club is open to all students of philosophy and enthusiasts, where everyone is encouraged to join, participate, and contribute to the activities and intellectual growth of the philosophy community. And the meaning of the club, Lyngwiar Pyrkhat, the name Lyngwiar Pyrkhat comes from the Khasi language, where Lyngwiar signifies a gathering or circle, and Pyrkhat means thought or reflection. Together, the name symbolizes a circle of thoughts, a community where ideas meet reflection, growth, and wisdom is shared collectively. The club motto, as you have seen here in the screen, as the hills whisper, we reflect. It means express the belief that philosophy does not arise only from books and institutions, but also from the lived experiences, tradition, stories, and voices of the land and its people. It reflects the club's commitment to understand philosophy through indigenous perspective and local realities. And the future goals of a club is, the future vision of Lyngwiar Pyrkhat is to become a vibrant intellectual and cultural platform that promote philosophical inquiry rooted in indigenous knowledge system. The club aims to promote awareness and study of tribal and indigenous philosophy, organize seminar, workshop, talks, and academic discussion, encourage students to develop critical and reflective thinking, create a space for dialogue between traditional wisdom and contemporary issues, support research, writing, and publication in philosophy and related fields, build connection with scholar, institution, and philosophy communities across India and beyond. Inspire students to use philosophy as a tool for social understanding, compassion, and meaningful change. And one of the primary goals of the club for this year is to initiate and publish a journals dedicated to different concepts of tribal knowledge and indigenous philosophy. The journals will provide students and preserve indigenous wisdom, tradition, ethics, oral narrative, and philosophical perspective from various tribal communities.
Philosophy Club, to all of you, those who have come together and started this club, I'd like to congratulate you. This is something that we need to have as a university. You all know the troubled times that we are in as a university, the problems that we're facing. And every day when I get up, I dread to read the newspaper because I don't know what else will be written. What comments will we get about the university? These are very troubled times for the university, but it is program like this that gives us hope for the university that we can come up of whatever situation that we are in. Let me remind my dear students of the motto of the university. And the motto of the university is rise up and build. It is taken from the Old Testament, Nehemiah, wherein you know about the story of the Jewish people. Somewhere during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar II, the whole of the Jerusalem was conquered by the Persian and Iranian, and the whole city was destroyed and the people were taken captive. So after hundreds of years later on, Jewish person by the name of Nehemiah, some call him prophet, other vice counsel of the king of Persia at that time, managed to convince the king to allow the Jewish people to return back to their homeland and to rebuild the city of Jerusalem and the kingdom of Jerusalem. And so Nehemiah was one of the, he was a counsel of the king at that time. He was allowed to go back to Jerusalem, and when he went around, he found the wall of Jerusalem completely broken, the people scattered. So he went around mobilizing the people, telling him that it's the will of God to rebuild back the kingdom of, the Jewish nation, and we should start that by building the city of Jerusalem. And so he went around and, shared his vision given by God, and that is how he convinced the people. And when you look at this phrase, rise up and build, this was not a phrase given by Nehemiah. It is actually when people got convinced of the vision that they all came together and said, let us rise up and build. You cannot build the university, a VC cannot build the university. Now we are on a way to get a new VC, maybe in 2 months' time or 6 months' time. But no matter what person you get, no matter how acclaimed he is, how able he is, unless we all come together and say, rise up and build, we'll never be able to build this university. So this is a very important, motto for us to understand from where it has come. And if you go on to read the book of Nehemiah, you'll find that even when they started to build the kingdom, the wall of Jerusalem, to rebuild the Jewish nation, they faced a lot of opposition. And so, what the Jewish people had to do at that time, if you read the following chapters, they had to, as they were building the wall, they were also being attacked by the people from other nations who had come and occupied the area around Jerusalem. So what they had to do was that they had to, on one hand they had a building tool to build the wall of Jerusalem, on the other hand they had a weapon. So they were building and they were guarding. Building the wall of Jerusalem, but at the same time also guarding the wall against attack from the enemies. This is a very important lesson for us.
Member of the Legislative Assembly, also the ex-president of the Khasi Students Union Central Executive Council, Ba M. Halang Emle, who is former MLA from Maulai constituency, who is also an ex-leader of the Khasi Students Union, the head of department, Sir Prasanjit Biswal, Professor Prasanjit Biswal, Dr. Basil Paulong, and president of this club, Samla Rishan Nongrum, the secretary of this club, GC. It is an honor to be part of this special occasion as we inaugurate this philosophy club, Lyngwiar Pyrkhat. Today marks not just the beginning of a club, but the beginning of journey, ideas, wisdoms, and thoughtful reflections. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to everyone behind this wonderful initiative. May this club grow into a platform of inspiration, learning, and meaningful discussions. As we begin this journey, always remember, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Keep questioning, keep learning, and keep inspiring one another. I wish Lyngwiar Pyrkhat team all the very best in the future and endeavors. May it continue to shine, inspire young philosophers, and achieve great success in the years ahead. Thank you and strive forward. From the Nehu team as a whole, we would again like to congratulate this team, president, secretary, advisor, and everyone who is involved.
Never thought of myself as invisible. Although Paul translates as small. Well, good afternoon, friends. A small but very significant gathering. I'm really happy to share today's launch of Lyngwiar Pyrkhat in the company of Pro VC, Bin, I used to call him Bin, because I was senior to him. I was the president and he was the education secretary of the KSU. And that apart, we were also Antonians studying together at St. Anthony's College. We also are privileged to have in our midst Professor Prasanji Biswas. He initially reminded me that we were together in college, but that he was my senior. If you glance at his gray hair, it certainly proves that he's wiser than me. And if you compare my hair to that of the Pro VC, it also proves that I'm much wiser than him. Pak Mbak Lang, Simle, our guest of honor, a dear friend whom I've had the wonderful privilege of working with for several years in the KSU, and who, at the height of one of our agitations, also landed up in jail in Trai. I think that is one experience he'll not forget. He might forget losing election, but not that experience. Our friends, Manbha, President in the Nehu, President of KSU, my dear student friends, Nehu also happens to be my alma mater. But at that point of time, we were at Mayor Branch complex, and in the Department of English, we were a group of around 40 students. And it intrigues me till today to think that at that point of time, out of the 40 students, there were just 3 males, 37 were girls. The good part is that I didn't date any of them, and I am where I am because of that. I think we have had a very serious and serious series of speeches, so I'd like to begin with a joke which I think will also be of relevance to any process of philosophizing that we might do. There was this young man who faced an interview board, and the senior guy sitting next to him said, "We are looking for a very responsible person for this job." He said, "Sir, I fit that bill so well." So the interviewer asked him, "Why do you think you are a responsible person?" He said, "Sir, I've worked in several offices, and whenever anything goes wrong, they turn to me and say, 'You are responsible.'" Let me congratulate each one of you for having thought it out to have Lyngwiar Pyrkhat, a thinking circle, a circle of philosophy. In Khasi, normally when we ask somebody's opinion, we do not say, "Pyrkhat, what do you think?" Instead we say, Pisngau Bumnum, what do you feel? There already is a juxtaposition of where the mind and the heart is. And I think that explains for a lot of things going wrong in society. We have politicians whipping up sentiments, and we have reverends using people's mental capacity. I think the first task of Lyngwiar Pyrkhat is to bring back that equilibrium, that balance. Let thinking belong to your grey matter, and let feeling come from the heart. Two of the things that I do in life is in politics, where I face the music, and in the arts, where I create music. Some people ask me, how do you survive this horrendous life of politics? I tell them that throughout the day, I face the music, go home, shower, and then create music. But when I write songs, one of the best that you've heard recently has crossed 1 million views on YouTube, Rilo. I wrote that song from my heart. But when we draft bills and acts to be introduced in the assembly, I can't use my heart. I need to use my grey matter. Intellect. Thinking. Don your thinking gap. Which is why I think the fundamental task before Lyngwiar Pyrkhat is to push back thinking to its center stage. People might say, what do you think about your pro-VC? But when they ask, what do you feel about him? You will have two different answers. You might, for instance, say, I think he's a brilliant guy, but in terms of feeling, I feel detached when I'm close to him. Those are two different responses, because one demands an answer from the heart, and the other calls for an answer from the brain. I'm happy that we are here. We've heard performances by the two major tribes of the state, the Khasi Jaintias and the Garos. I'm writing a couple of, in fact, a series of essays, but I'd like to pull your attention to this fact. One factor that unifies and unites Meghalaya is the fact that we are the only matrilineal state in the entire country. The only. And if some of you might go back to the Hill State movement, the movement was meant to be carved out Assam and bring the Nagas, the Mikas, the Mizos, the Khasi Jaintias, the Garos under one roof, one political platform. Each of those communities left the movement, the APHLC, year after year. And it was left to only the two matrilineal societies to be part of Meghalaya.
Mornings are always busy. Everything feels fast. I hear mom shouting and I'm trying not to be late. Outside, Shillong is already awake. Cars move slowly, horns are loud. It feels like everyone is in a hurry. Then the STEMS bus comes in, bright and yellow, always on time. The caretaker waves and I feel okay. Inside, we laugh and sing. We share snacks. We help each other with homework. It feels nice. My parents know I'm safe through the STEMS app on mom's phone. Because this bus isn't just a ride. It takes us to school with friends and a little bit of hope. This is STEMS, our ride, our future.